I'm leaving in less than 24 hours and I'm gonna be gone for almost a whole week, so I need to harvest as much as I can right now. I'm gonna put my garden gloves on because I am terrified that there's gonna be either spiders or hornworms. There are so many Armenian cucumbers to harvest this time around. Look how massive these are. And these have only been growing for about a week as of right now. Every single day they grow a few inches. There's a couple that you can spot right away, but there's also a bunch of them that are hidden amongst these vines. For example, right here, look at this. I'm gonna be giving a bunch of these away to my in-laws. Oh, look, here's another one. Oh, this one's massive. I'm gonna check these vines down here. I think that might be it for this little section. And then I thought I saw one down here as well. Oh, there we go. Oh, and then look at the spider web. I don't see the spider right now, and I don't think I want to. I think that might be it for this little section. And there's still gonna be a ton more. I see another one over here. Are there any more over on this side? I don't think so, huh? All right. My garden hut is filling up pretty fast. I'm also gonna take a look at these eggplants. So these, I had been finding a bunch of those hornworms on. Oh, look, there's one right now. Look at that. Okay, hold on. Okay, so this is what I usually do when it comes to the hornworms. I have my bucket of hornworms. I'm wearing my gloves, so I'm just gonna do this with my gloves on, but I just snip those leaves off, toss it in a bucket. And I just keep repeating that every single time I find these guys. And I'm out here every single day checking as well, because they can take down a whole plant in a night if you have multiple hornworms. But look at these eggplants right here. I think these are just so beautiful. I saw my friend Brian from Red Leaf Ranch make this egg with eggplant and it looked amazing. I've been craving ever since. I was telling my husband about it. So I wanted to take some of these and then use just egg, which is a plant-based version, to see how it turns out. While I'm here though, I'm gonna do a quick search on these other leaves because I won't be here to check on these plants every single day. And I'm scared that I'll come back to no plant. I forget about the spider web. Okay, let's not touch that part. And then down here, I have some more okra. I don't know what variety this is. It's not Clemson spineless though, I don't think. This one looks different though. And some of these pots did get a little too large, but I'm gonna bring them in so that the plants can continue to produce. I come out here and pick them all the time, and I still cannot keep up with these. But okra is one of those things that I love to grow because you really can't find it fresh here where I live. You can sometimes find it frozen, but truthfully, these plants are so productive that if you grow just a couple, you're gonna have a bunch of okra every single day. This is my other okra plant. This one fell over because we had a crazy wind come through a few days ago, and don't mind these zip ties. Actually, let me trim them off. They're bugging me. But this plant, I think I just need to support a bit more. Look at the top though. So the cool thing about all of these heat-loving plants is a lot of them didn't start producing for me during the summer. The issue that I have here where I live in Arizona is that during the summer, a lot of plants just fry. These don't fry, but they also don't produce for me. They just stay alive. I don't know if that's the case for everybody, but for me personally, they stay alive, but then as soon as the temperatures start to cool down, and by cool down, I mean like into the hundreds, they start pumping out fruit like crazy. I mean, look at that. And this is with me picking almost every single day. And I'm gonna take this baby one too, just because by tomorrow it will be a baby no longer. This little plant right here has been riddled with hornworms. I find a lot of them on here actually. I see the poop today, but I haven't found one this morning. So I'm gonna pick a few. Should I pick some of these peppers? I think I kind of want to. So the thing about these peppers is that they don't get very large, but they start to ripen. Like you guys can see this one right here. it's starting to get a little bit more of a reddish tinge. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but they're very spicy, extremely delicious, extremely productive, except they're just very small, which is fine, except for the fact that if you ever want to come harvest them, it's hard to get them all at once because they're just so many. And this is right now when it's barely starting to pump some out, but whenever it's filled with peppers, it's hard. It's hard to stay on top of them. Okay, I might just have to come back to it. I want to get all the big stuff for now. Oh no, there's my other pepper plant, and I already see one huge hornworm on it. Ugh, where's my hornworm bucket? I feel like I have to carry this around just as much as I carry my garden harvest. I'm harvesting hornworms. Oh. Can you spot the hornworm? Oh, I see two actually. Nope, not today. And then here's another one. I get kind of freaked out by them, not only because they look scary, but also because oftentimes they will spit out bile at you. So we're not really friends. Don't think we ever will be. I think those are all the ones I saw for right now. Back to the harvest. Here's my basket. It's getting pretty heavy. So over here, I have a few more Armenian cucumbers at different stages. So I'm just gonna grab all of them because when I come back, there's gonna be a ton more to harvest. And then while I'm here, I'm also gonna check for any hornworm over on this side, which I don't think I see right now. Moving over to this portion, I have a lot. No, no. You guys, no, 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 no. Oh, come on, no, no, no. Oh, my heart is beating so fast right now. You know what that means? Ugh. Oh my God. You've got to be kidding me. Okay, let's grab everything we can. That means I'm gonna have to... Dude, I literally thought this nightmare was over. So far, it's just one that has been affected that I see. Okay. Are those all of it? Or all of them, I should say. There's another one deep in there, but there's also a huge spider web. Oh, I feel so mad right now. I thought that nightmare was finally over. And obviously, I was wrong. See, there's a huge spider web right here. And I need to get to a cucumber down there. So usually I just kind of move them and the spider goes on its merry way, hopefully. But okay. I'm so sorry, spider. I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay. There's a couple more over here. Right, and these seem fine. Another one right here. And there's gonna be several more going over here. I don't see any other damaged fruit. Okay, is that it? Oh. This is the current harvest basket. You can barely tell I have anything else in there because the cucumbers are just so many. The last thing I'm gonna harvest is gonna be Roselle, because these are ready to be picked and there's so many on there. So with these, I wait for the calyxes to get nice and plump, as you can see here. Look at that, the seed has started forming. So these are ready. There's gonna be so many too. If you live in a hot climate or have a long growing season, I cannot recommend this plant enough. It goes by many names like Roselle hibiscus, sorrel, flor de Jamaica, Florida cranberry, lemon bush, Queensland jelly plant, sour, and the list goes on and on depending on where in the world you live. I grew up calling it Flor de Jamaica, and my mom used to buy it dried from the grocery store to turn into a delicious, refreshing drink called Jamaica during the summertime. The taste is very tart and sour, but beautifully balanced when you sweeten it. In fact, the drink itself is so loved that most Latin grocery stores not only sell the dried calyxes in bulk, but their food courts often sell cups of delicious Jamaica too. The coolest part about growing this plant in my garden was learning that the whole plant can be used in many diverse ways. For example, the leaves are edible and can be cooked in different dishes, while the flowers and calyxes are used for tea, jam, jelly, wine, and the list goes on and on. I myself add the leaves to savory dishes, and I use the seed pods and calyxes to make jam that never lasts more than a couple of days in my family. And in my opinion, the freshly harvested Jamaica tastes less tart and more bright than the dried version I used to buy at the store. I've even tried comparing homegrown dried Jamaica to store-bought dried Jamaica, and I personally still prefer the homegrown. This plant is in my top 5 must-grow every single year list because of how beautiful, productive, and delicious it is. However, there are 5 things to keep in mind if you want to add this plant to your vegetable garden as well. The first thing to keep in mind is that this plant requires a long growing season and can perform well in hardiness zones 7 through 10, but if you're in a colder zone, perhaps using a greenhouse or grow tunnel would come in handy because this plant is very cold sensitive. In fact, here where I live in the low desert of Arizona, zone 9B, winter feels like a figment of my imagination, yet I've had Roselle plants taken out by cold days. With that said, this plant performs exceptionally well in extreme heat with pretty much no visible heat or sun damage, which makes it an excellent choice for gardens in hot, arid climates. The second thing to keep in mind is that this plant can get huge, which means that you have to be careful and intentional about where you plant it. The garden beds in Serendipity are 4 feet wide by 6 feet long, and 1 or 2 Roselle plants can fill the entire garden bed very easily. If you have a large garden or growing space, this might not be an issue at all, but if you have limited growing space, I would recommend growing this plant in its own container instead of a garden bed, so it doesn't shade nearby plants. I came across this problem often when I planted Roselle in my garden beds because the plants usually got over 7 feet tall, with branches stretching out about 4 to 6 feet long. And because the stems are very fibrous and flop over easily, without added support, they constantly fell on top of other plants and often squished them. However, pruning them periodically helped this issue a bit, but if you want to avoid that altogether, I've been able to harvest baskets full of calyxes from Roselle plants grown in 15 and 25 gallon containers. The third thing to keep in mind is that this plant is day length sensitive, which means that once planted, it will grow and grow, but it won't start flowering until the days get shorter in the fall. Therefore, in order to have the most success with this crop, I direct sow and transplant my Roselle seeds and starts beginning in March all the way up until May. I prefer to get them in the ground as early as I can. That way, the plants have an opportunity to get huge before fall so I can maximize my harvest. The fourth thing to keep in mind is that Roselle hibiscus loves the sun. There is a notable difference in size and production from plants that are grown in more shaded areas versus plants that are bathed in sun. That's important to keep in mind when deciding where to plant them because it can significantly impact your harvest. And because the plants take several months to produce, you want to plant them where they'll thrive so you're able to make the most out of the space that they take up. The fifth and final thing to keep in mind is that this plant does very well when its soil is kept moist and hydrated. This is especially important if you decide to grow it in a container because it has a pretty large root system that needs adequate moisture to sustain a large, healthy plant. Back when I was still figuring out how to water my Arizona garden, I noticed that if a container dried out too much, the plant became stunted and didn't produce as heavily, or it gave me one okay flush of flowers, but then the following harvests were a lot smaller and less abundant. What helped me maintain consistent moisture in the containers and garden beds was switching over to drip irrigation and using mulch to help retain moisture during hot summer days. With that in mind, if you are curious about growing Roselle hibiscus in your garden, you can search for the seeds online. I bought mine from Amazon the first time I planted them and had wonderful success with the germination, and then I began saving my own seeds from those plants. I've linked the ones I purchased in the description box along with the sites where I purchased the containers used in my garden and the drip irrigation. But there are several online seed companies that might carry Roselle hibiscus too. Regardless of where you buy your seeds, if you are able to, I highly recommend adding this plant to your garden. Oh, there's so many on here. And I'm pretty sure by the time I get back, there's gonna be even more. And here's what I harvested from the garden today.